Oculus.
Hello. Ein Mensch. Ja, und als Mensch, da sagtet ihr,
He's so excited.
jetzt hast du lange Fresse.
So the man in this video may look like to you guys just some weirdo who's strapped into some weird machine and screaming at the top of his lungs and running in place, right? But I guarantee you that in his eyes, he is a great warrior wandering the lands of Skyrim. Today I will be highlighting for you the growth of virtual reality in entertainment. Aside from growing up a gamer myself and watching a bunch of movies based on virtual reality, I've seen the growth of virtual reality firsthand. I've also been looking further into how virtual reality came to use as entertainment and what it could lead to. I'm sure many of you, if not all of you, have a favorite video game character, movie or TV hero, or musician. Now imagine becoming your favorite video game character, or running alongside your favorite action movie hero, or jamming out on stage with your favorite band. These are some of the things that could be possible with virtual reality, and they could be possible a lot sooner than you expect. Today I will discuss for you how virtual reality came into entertainment, where virtual reality is seen today, and the possibilities of virtual reality in the future. First, how the idea of virtual reality entertainment began and has grown since. One of the first appearances of virtual reality, according to Engadget.com, one of the fathers of virtual reality is Morton Heilig, who invented what he called the Sensorama simulator, which is this machine right here. He invented it in 1957, and it created the illusion of reality through 3D movies, smell, stereo sound, seat vibrations, and even wind going through your hair. And it also included a motor in the seat which vibrated as you were watching the movie. There was actually a movie where you were just riding a motorcycle and the seat would vibrate and you would get the wind through your hair, so you get the whole effect, you know. It was one of the first most mind-blowing things that people had seen back then. Later on, in 1977, the Electronic Visualization Laboratory made the first wired glove, which was just essentially a glove with wires, with wires running up and down the hand. And as the user would move their hand, it would send the information to a computer and would move a corresponding software program or some kind of robotic arm or something like that. And this technology was later used by Nintendo to make what was called the Nintendo Power Glove. It was released in 1987, and it was one of the first virtual reality devices to be used by the home consumer. it was supposed to be cutting edge at the time, right? But as more and more people bought this, they realized how imprecise it actually was and how it didn't really work with all the games that it said that it did. So it kind of tanked. It's seen as more of like a pop icon now than an actual break in gaming technology. But later, Nintendo was obsessed with this idea of virtual reality, and they really wanted to bring it to the home consumer. So they came out with what was called the Virtual Boy in 1955, which was a game console, if you want to call it that. It featured 3D images, but only in red and black. For this reason, it didn't do so well. It was only in rotation for about a year, then it was discontinued because people were complaining about the eye strain. Like, imagine this, like an inch from your eye, in each eye, and it's just red, like a vivid red. This doesn't do it justice, but just a vivid red right in your eye, and it really just didn't go well, and that tanked. So we come now to today's virtual reality world in the entertainment industry. The new Microsoft Xbox One features what is called the Microsoft Kinect, which is today's version of the virtual augmented reality device. It has it allows the user to use your whole body as a controller, and features facial recognition technology and voice commands. And this is fairly common now with gaming consoles. Sony also has a similar device called the PlayStation Camera, which is essentially the same thing, except you need an actual special controller to track your motion. Another growing virtual reality trend is the use of 3D TVs, which we've seen grow recently. It incorporates the use of 3D glasses and the ability to see the images come off the screen and to be able to be sitting in your own living room and watching Nemo come at you and stuff like that. It's pretty appetizing to people. So finally, I will share with you the possibilities for the future in virtual reality. So in 2012, a company named Oculus VR announced funding for their product called the Oculus Rift, which was seen in the video. It's actually a virtual reality headset. It features 1080p HD, and the cool thing about this is it has 360-degree head tracking, which allows the user to look back and forth and be able to be totally immersed in their situation or environment or whatever it would be. This is set to be released sometime in 2015, and it's set to be released. And alongside with this, there's also been many devices that go along with it. So like a virtual reality controller, which would allow the user to move freely among the game in real time. This is actually by a company called Virtuix. It's called the Omni, and it allows the user to move around freely along with the Oculus Rift, and it's a total immersive experience, right? It's as good as it gets right now. This is also set to be released in 2015. And along with this new technology, there's possibilities that are almost limitless. There's the idea of 360-degree movies, as far as being able to be in the movie and be able to look around and see your whole environment. That also goes with 360 concerts, being on stage, like I said, with your favorite musician. And it's all in full HD, 360 audio, so you can hear the positioning of what's around you. So today I've talked about the history, past, present, and future of virtual reality and entertainment. And as you can see, the virtual experience technology may seem cutting edge today, but the best is yet to come.
So, Amy, let's hear from you, please.
So George's topic was on virtual reality and basically video game entertainment. And some of his strong points were that he had some good citations and he also had clear points that are able to hear well at the beginning. He did look at his cards a bit, but he looked up enough to have good eye contact and his voice was clear. He did have a little too many uhs or ums, especially at the beginning, but you got a little better about that at the end. For your visual aids, the video I thought ran a tad too long, but it was humorous, and your pictures were good visuals. I don't know a lot about this visual stuff, video game stuff, but my brother does, so for me it was a good, informative topic.
Okay, well, I'm going to jump right on there on the attention device. Yeah, it's a minute and a half. It's a long time to start without your speaking at the beginning of the speech. It would help a little bit if you just told us at the beginning, even as we're getting started, take a minute here, everybody. I want you to watch and look at both sides of the image here, so you can see and compare them. And then run the clip a little bit, maybe skip ahead a little bit, edit it down a little bit so it's not quite as long, but at least then it would feel like the speech had started. As it was, it's like your speech has started, but you go a minute and a half before you start, and that just doesn't feel right. It feels like we're being distanced from the presentation. I think that that's a little bit of a problem. Although the visual, I think, is very effective at illustrating the point that you're talking about. When we see what it is you're talking about in the video, that makes it so much more easy for us to relate to and understand what you're talking about later in the speech. So it's not that it's a bad visual, it just needs to be managed a little bit more effectively in the presentation. But you had a very clear statement of what your purpose was, and there's an excellent preview at the beginning of the speech. In the body of the speech, I did think that I could tell it's kind of developing chronologically, but there need to be some distinct points. And I think you try to let the visuals make those transitions for you, and I don't think they do that as clearly and distinctly as they need to, because sometimes the technological development, we're jumping big points, for instance, from one thing to another, or we're having only little minor changes as we're going from one thing to another. And so I'm not sure, is this a part of the current point that we're talking about, or have we actually moved to another section of the material? That seemed to me to be a little problematic. I did think that you had some nice historical information in the presentation. I didn't always hear the source citations, but I heard a few of them, so I think that that's effective. Like I said, I think for the most part the visuals worked pretty well in illustrating what you're talking about. You speak to us for the most part, maybe a few too many ums and the cards and that sort of thing. That's not what we're focusing on that much right here. 9 minutes and 40 seconds, so you're almost 2 minutes over time. So you need to do some editing. All right. It's tough.